Okay. Hello, my fellow readers. This is I, Dark Symphony 777, with another fan fiction reading. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, and leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story. So, I am now reading the official extra chapter of Alphys and the Queen. I actually found out kind of randomly. Like, I was looking through, like, Undertale-related stuff, and I found that, hey, Ringcat made an extra chapter related to Deltarune, so I thought, why not? Just have some fun. So, let's get started. Alpha sat frozen at the desk, staring. Pop-up windows filled the screen. This program has been installed by fewer than 50 monsters in the underground. Are you sure you want to continue? This program may change your computer settings. An unknown program has been detected trying to use cookies. This program does not have unauthorized kernel. Authorized? Your other computer will probably not feel safe around you if you install this program. Install? This program is from an unknown publisher and cannot be confirmed internet safe. Continue anyway. Windows layered over windows with warnings. You are taking your heart into the hands if you continue to install this program. A heart-shaped cursor vacillated between options reading install and don't. Warning! There's one window in yellow and blue. There are too many warning windows in your screen. I am scared. Click here for details. Tutorial! Yelled Alphys, not taking her eyes off the screen. If you're available, I think you better. Heavy, muffled footsteps hurried along the hall. A door opened and Toriel was there. She had her nightgown on, unbuttoned, but in place of her nightcap, her Easter bunny hood still sat on her head. Tall ears sprightly if a bit wearily from the day's events. Alphys couldn't criticize, as she was still wearing the cat ears from her own costume. She wasn't dressed as Mew Mew, of course. That would be too obvious. She was Nyani, the original cat girl who died tragically in a misguided initiative by the Japanese military that had contributed generic content to the eventual birth of Mew Mew. Of course, that hadn't stopped people from complimenting her all day on her Mew Mew costume, or her cat girl costume, or her person with external ears costume. She took in her wife's appearance with a tremulous glance, then turned to indicate the computer. Look! Toriel leaned down and peered at the screen, bustling with intersection warnings, some of which were starting to jostle each other for dominance. Alphys, is this a computer issue? Have you called me out of bed just because you have damaged your computer? No, look. She minimized some of the windows and fought back against the new ones that popped up until the website was available. White letters on a black in a familiar font. Do you remember that game the annoying dog made about our lives? It looks like it. Finally, there's another one. Really? Toriel's lip pursed and parted shock. If that's true, then Alphys looked meaningful at her. Then we've gotta play it, right? Slowly, wordlessly, Toriel fastened a single button of her nightgown, pulled out of her computer chair, and sat down. She lowered the chair at the same time Alphys was adjusting up the height of the table. Both women overshot, and Toriel gave Alphys a troubled look. After a little more tinkering, they had both attained a comfortable height, and a window popped up. Muffet's wait, what? What did Muffet become a software person? I thought she was a cook. I thought Alphys was the software person. Okay. Muffet's anti-malware web has detected a potential virus. Name, survey program. What would you like me to do, dearie? Ensnare, devour, dismember, invite into your parlor. Yeah, that fits Muffet. With a nervous glance at our partner, Alphys chose the last option and ran the installation program. The user service agreed popped up with this darkly simple text. You accept everything that will happen from now on. Well, said Toriel. Well, Alphys, agreed Alphys, staring. It will go back a bit. I suppose, Toriel reasoned, that if we simply learn to accept everything in our lives, it will probably bring us contentment. I guess that makes sense. After all, what is the alternative to acceptance? Discontentment. Shall we clench our fist in rage at the injustice of the world, swearing to bring down the powers that be? Alphys glanced at the royal seal on the wall of her laboratory. That's kind of us now? Precisely, said Toriel. But Tori, I don't want to accept everything. I don't accept that you're just gonna get old. Just ask for an instant, I want you to be immortal the way you used to be, and I don't accept that we're trapped underground, or that humans have to be your enemies, or that. Shh, my dear one. Toriel held two fingers to her own lips, and as if sharing a consecrated sacrament, touched them gently to Alphys' forehead. That is fine. We can continue to fight for what we wish to change in the world. But yes, that is what will happen. We can accept everything that will happen from now on, including our efforts to influence what those events are on. Those two are things that will happen. Um, yeah, agreed Alphys, understanding. And when something happens that I don't accept, not accepting it is part of what I'm choosing to accept. Toriel smiled. I think we're on the same page. She reached out with the mouse and accepted the I accept button. The computer seemed to turn inside out as all warning boxes dissolved into smithereens. Then the program opened, and all the flashy warnings were replaced with a single silent message. Are you there? Are we connected? This is quite creepy, Toriel. Do you think we should... Toriel nodded. I will make the apple cider, said Alphys, staring at an endlessly fluctuating purple tunnel. Though they were deep enough in the castle not to hear anything from outside, she knew monsters were still roaming out here, and will probably be engaged in various antics well past midnight. Make it green apple cider, she suggested. It's Halloween. With vanilla ice cream? Alphys licked her lips. Her taste had changed a bit from when she lived alone. You bet. When Toriel returned, Alphys gracefully took a cup and slurred down a big creamy gulp. She shook her snout and licked her lips. Toriel looked at the screen. Are we choosing the appearance of our character? Yes, but I waited for you. That was considerate you, Toriel took over the mouse and spent several minutes selecting a head and torso, eventually opting for the button-up jacket without buttons. Now she sat with a tongue in her cheek, squinting at the leg options. Toriel? 1 minute, my love. I am still deciding. Tori, I think those are all the same. Toriel looked at her wife, brow furrowed and lips pursed. They are entirely the same. The differences are merely subtle. Alphys looked again. She was pretty sure they were all identical. Down to the pixel. Oh, I guess that one's mirror image. Toriel sighed and made her selection. I beg your pardon. It's just that I miss all my children dearly. And this is almost as if I am creating a new child. She frowned. Of a sort. Alphys, what is your blood type? I don't have one. I'm a monster. Like you? Toriel winkled her mouth. That is what I thought. Perhaps I should have asked what it is a blood type. I am not familiar with the term, but I thought that perhaps one does not need blood to have one. Blood is something that humans have. I think it's mainly for letting you know if you've been hurt, or if you have a crush on someone. Then it shows up in your nose. How odd. Toriel added a wrinkled nose to her various facial creases before selecting C. Blood type C? Asked Alphys. Or cake, explained Toriel. Ah, I see. How sweet. Is it asking us to give our creation a gift? It's like we're making a whole person from scratch. I noticed you chose kindness and you didn't ask me for my opinions. Toriel's eyes widened. You're right. I'm sorry, Alphys. We were doing this together after all. But really, do you expect me to choose anything but kindness? I kind of wonder. So his voice, does it start talking out loud? That would be something. Shall we declare that we feel love for our creation? Toriel laid her hands, businesslike, atop one another on the desk as she turned to face her consort. Alphys couldn't say no. Yes. Toriel nodded, as she had been given the correct answer. Have we answered honestly? Alphys started to shake. Think so. I mean, how could we not have? We're making it up. Are we? The boss monster peered thoroughly at the screen. I believe so. Very well. She pressed onward, then frowned anew. Alphys, do we acknowledge the possibility of pain and seizure? I suppose I must acknowledge that such things exist somewhere in the world, said Toriel gruffly. But what have they come to us through this game? That is a good point, said Toriel. She chose no. Understood, said the game. Name your vessel. I'm not entirely sure it did understand Toriel. Well, it is only a video game after all. She considered, but entered the name Ziggy. The name of your first child? Asked Alphys. Somehow, this child character reminds me of Ziggy. Cannot say why, but I would very much like to witness them alive again. If only through a fictional creation. Is that alright? Alphys nodded a few times. That's fine. What are we gonna put for our own name? Toriel paused, unsure, then entered LPHIEL into the interface. Alphys squeaked and cupped her hands over her mouth at what came next. Oh my, said Toriel, watching. Oh. Alphys stared. It how could they? It's throwing away all we did away. Toriel gasped in astonishment. Halloween is truly a terrible holiday, she whispered. I don't know. I kind of liked it. Oh, she stopped short because there, on the screen, was frightened Toriel, and a portrait of her face, calling for her child, Chris. They got up. Oh my, said Toriel. Um, Tori? Alphys grinned naughtily and poked her wife with her tail. You're a mom. I am no such, but the evidence on the screen couldn't be denied. She grinned, awareness drawing. I am my own child, she cooed. We are your own child. We certainly are. Toriel put an arm around Alphys as she continued to press the action key. Alphys's cup of green cider was half empty. She didn't mind, though. She knew there would be plenty more. The game listed titles from the bookshelf. Can snails help your garden? Not really. But snails are good for one's garden, Toriel objected. I learned that from Asgore, and employed snails in my humble patch in the ruins. Well, Alphys replied. I guess the annoying dog didn't do its research. Toriel pushed through. A history by Gertson Boom. That is odd. Gertson's last name is not Boom. Really? What is it? Asked Alphys. It is Turklesmith. Curious. Um, do you suppose it could be a joke? Toriel crossed her eyes. Unless it's some kind of silly video game reference, I assume it is an anagram. Deltarune is an anagram for Undertale, after all. Well, I guess that might be possible. Do you not have an app or some kind of program that finds anagrams? Alphys pulled out her phone and revved up the word spinner. Her phone started to hum loudly. Anagrams for Gertson Boom, she said into the microphone. The spinning noise wound down. She looked at the screen. Borneo Smog, she asked. I don't even know what that is. Somber Goon, that is just depressing. What else is there? Morose Bong. Toriel startled himself. Very well. We will move on then. They had traversed the town, recognizing familiar faces, and arrived at the school. It's me! I'm the school teacher! How queer, replied Toriel. Alphys looked over in concern. Do you really think it's queer? Am I that bad at teaching, Toriel? Oh no, not at all. You are an exceptional teacher, and I'm lucky to have your instruction. It's just that in the previous game, I was the school teacher. But stop back. Oh right, in the credits. It's as if the dog is trolling us. Alphys always found it weird when Toriel talked about trolling. You really like that word, huh? It is one of Sans's. Just today, when the spiders tried to sell you a Halloween newspaper, but charged more than usual, you said they were trolling their readers. The listed price was one more gold than you currently have on your person. What was that? No, that would be a scam artist. Damn it, Muffet! Mug spider waifu. Was I using the word incorrectly? Well, maybe not, but I once heard you say an apple tree was trolling monsters by growing overripe fruit. I suppose I may have. And then plums are trolling us by having pits, and snails troll us by moving so slowly. Is it possible that I have become overfond of the world? Of the word? Toriel admitted. Yes, I have. Whom should we select for our partner? Okay. Alphys on the screen. How about this? If no one speaks up, everyone gets in trouble. Toriel scowled at the real Alphys, sitting next to her. Alphys swallowed frantically to face her. What? This isn't really me on screen? It is the sort of thing you might say. Tori? Are you upset with me because of something I think I might say if I was a teacher? Toriel reflected. You're right. That was unfair of me. Breathed Alphys, turning away. I will test you instead. Toriel continued. What would you do in this situation? Alphys jerked back, her chair swinging too far. She kicked her legs helplessly. I guess I go get some more chalk and keep it in my desk? You would be leaving the classroom unsupervised. What if the children were to find trouble in your absence? The lizard's claw chattered. I guess I could send one of them to get the chalk instead? That is an acceptable answer, nodded Toriel, pressing Z again. A formidable new figure, purple and looking for trouble, entered the scene. Party! Hi, Susie. Susie? Exclaimed real-life Alphys. Oh dear, said Toriel. She would appear to be a troubled child. But that's not Susie, Alphys cried. Susie is a mouse. She's not school-age either. Toriel frowned. Our royal scientist is not the same Susie. Her name is spelled differently. Alphys looked again. Oh, right. I wonder why the dog would create a new character with the same name as someone we know, but spelled differently, and with a totally different personality. Just answer your own question, Alphys. And yet the hint from the last game as to her identity would still be correct. As you can see, she was bullying us rather severely. It is altogether possible that she could be the reason this child came to Mount Heaven. You mean to get away from her? Asked Alphys. Toriel nodded sagely, while the characters on screen faced off, no pun intended, in the hallway to some rather strident guitar licks. But Miss Clamdia said Susie was her neighbor's daughter. This Susie lives on the surface. She couldn't be neighbors with Miss Clamdia. That is indeed perplexing, said Toriel. So we have a character who shares a name, and phonetics if not spelling, and a potential motivational role with a real person, but not the specifics of appearance, personality, age, or place of residence. It's almost as if the annoying dog forgot what it was doing. Do you suppose this game might be meant as a Toriel crossed her eyes? An alternate history in which monsters before the Great War lived in modern accommodations? But then what am I doing there? Asked Alphys. That is the point. Perhaps the story is a mixture of past and present. You mean a sort of mashup of AU's historical fiction, mainstream fiction, and near future speculation? Asked Alphys skeptically. You're right. It is more likely it forgot what it was doing. Maybe it was making both of these games at the same time and got mixed up about which one it was. Shards, don't go any deeper in the closet. It doesn't have the chalk, guys. Come back! Alphys wants chalk so badly she can get it herself. I agree! cried Alphys. She can come back to me and report a broken closet. And what would you do about it? Asked Toriel. I guess I ask her how exactly it was broken, and then I get someone to watch the class, and then go and the crowd fell away and the figures on the screen plummeted into the darkness. Alphys was controlling the human figure now, eyes wrapped on the screen. In this land, only eyes blinded by darkness can see the way, she read from the placard on the wall. And that's kind of weird, said Alphys. Right? It does have challenging implications, Toriel replied. But then, both of us are wearing false ears that do not hear. Alphys fingered her felted cat ears, like cotton shaped over wires, and only ears like these can hear that way. Toriel's bunny ears were sagging now, though her real ears visible beneath the hood were even floppier and no less long or white. Perhaps the identity they gave me for the day was capable of hearing the way. After a fashion, I must say, at my age, it was enjoyable to portray a symbol of rebirth. Alphys googled at her. Oh, Tori, you're always a symbol of rebirth. Toriel's muzzle stiffened. Do you believe I am nothing but a symbol? Nope, replied Alphys. You're a bunch of symbols, all at once, and you're a real wonderful person, too. It wasn't long before they met another remarkable ruler who might have arguably been some kind of symbol. Welcome, said the mysterious figure. I am the prince of this kingdom, the kingdom of darkness. He has sweat drops on the outside of his cowl, Toriel observed. That is something. I guess some people are just naturally nervous. The prophecy played out in text and illustrations on the right in the screen. But in the east, a new fountain appears. And with it, the balance begins to shift, and they return to the normal view. Thank you for listening to my legend, said Rousey. Wait, said Toriel, mouth tight. What is this fountain has appeared? Is he saying it will appear? Or has it already appeared? I'm still wondering what it means for the earth to draw her final breath, said Alphys, and it's only then that the three heroes appear. Are these three characters the three heroes? Asked Toriel. If so, does that mean the sky is already clouded in darkness, and the earth has already been rent? It didn't look rent in the above ground section of the game. But I guess that's why this world has all those narrow walkways and sharp drop-offs. That is not so different from Hotland or Waterfall Observatorial. Yet these lands are not rent. Unless they are. Because that's how we get our geothermal energy. Toriel placed her hands on top of each other on the desk. Oh, I see. So for the Earth to be rent is a good thing. As far as I can figure it out. That leaves the question of what exactly we, as heroes, are trying to accomplish. Um, Unrented? Posited Alphys. Which fountain do you suppose we are meant to close, Prestorial? The fountain of darkness or the newer, more distant fountain that has shifted the balance? I don't know, said Alphys, tapping her phone. I just know that one anagram for fountain is tuna info. Toriel's brows knit. Before long, they were in a combat tutorial. Hold on, said Alphys, scooting her chair over and pushing Toriel a bit to the side. I want to try something. Toriel sat and watched patiently while Alphys repeated select the fight option, then failed to hit the Z button to actually fight the training dummy. What are you doing, Doctor? Alphys grinned, the tip of her tongue showing. I'm trying to mess with him. On the screen, Razley became increasingly frustrated in his quiet way, telling the player to hit the Z button over the white rectangle. No rectangles, he implored. They're like messed up squares. This has become excessively cruel, shouted Toriel. Okay, said Alphys, now meek. She went ahead properly with the tutorial. You don't like being cruel even to video game characters, huh? You have as much right to happiness as you or I. Moreover, there is something familiar about this dark prince. The way he acts when he is flustered. His inverted sweetness. Alphys peered at her. Yes? Toriel gasped, suddenly bringing a hand to her mouth. It's just like my Azrael. Even the shape of his ear. Oh, well, sure, said Alphys. I figured you knew that. I mean, Razley is an anagram for Azrael. Toriel's mouth opened wide. My son was on the screen, and you did not think it was worth mentioning? I thought she realized, protested Alphys, scooting her chair back. How odd, though. My character in the introduction said that Azrael was visiting in a week. So are we to take it that he exists in the main storyline, but also in this imaginary world of darkness? Maybe he's an exchange student? An exchange student to a world of darkness inside a supply closet, where he has to dress in black all the time in order to fit in? Well, Alphys, that is a theory. A game? I'm joking. They were making good progress now and had fought several battles. Alphys was on her second cup of warm cider while Toriel was still nursing her first sang. You made a team purely of support enemies. It's like a dinner made out of 3 glasses of milk. And that's unusual somehow? Oh, really, said Toriel, planting her head heavily on the table. There is not even a semblance of a balanced meal. Besides, spades do not drink milk. You do know. How would you know what spades drink, Tori? You're a heart, Alphys grinned, recalling their games of bridge and how they each chosen a suit to identify with. Indeed, and you are a diamond made from carbon. I suppose we had better ask Sam then, as he was our spade. Oh no, we're getting Sans. Okay. Alphys pulled out her cell phone and speed dialed the royal judge, barely even pausing to wonder whether he was awake. The answer was prompt. Yo. Sans. Toriel and I are playing a video game and a video game in the middle of the night. Well, sounds like the king's in good hands. Right. So there's a character in the game who says, another character says, it's like drinking 3 glasses of milk for dinner. And the second character says, Toriel gently relieved her of the phone. Would you consider it unusual, Sans, to drink 3 glasses of milk for dinner? The phone was silent for a few moments. You know what, Tori? I think this is one of those questions you can't really handle over the phone. I better come over there. Yes! Sans appears! I wonder if we're gonna get the whole bridge crew and Moffat shows up. That would be really cool. We need more spider wives. Really, Sans, we are occupied. It's a simple question. I'll be right over. Click. There was a click. The 2 queens looked at each other. Well, Doctor, now look what you done. B? But Tori, you're the one who asked the question. Toriel scowled. I suppose we should instruct the guards not to let him in. No, that never works, right? That is true. Toriel looked at the phone in her hands. I could simply call him back and tell him that it is not important, and he need not come. But if you try calling him now, it'll just ring forever and he'll never answer. That is also true. I suppose we're stuck with reheating the green apple cider and welcoming him to our party. Alphys chuckled. I suppose that's what we get for being silly, she volunteered. Toriel smiled. Yes, I suppose you are correct. Shall we continue? The strange shopkeeper with a button for an eye now stared at them, offering dialogue choices. Toriel sat with her hands in her lap. In the previous game, I always enjoyed reading what the shopkeepers had to say, especially when that crocodile and the cat lady told stories about your childhood together. It was so illuminating. Yeah, I like the shopkeeper dialogue too. Would you like to read it aloud to me, my valued consort? Alphys perked up. I'd be glad to. She scooted up and took over. Shall we ask about Lightners? Let us do so. Alphys read. Long ago, the Darkners lived in harmony with the Lightners. They were like gods to us, our protectors, our creators, those who gave us purpose. And one day we were all locked away in this prison, and the Lightners never returned. Those who gave us purpose, Toriel echoed. In what way do you suppose they did that? Alphys sat and thought on a while. Oh, she realized it's simple. The Darkners are just, well, they're all game pieces, right? Guards and puzzle pieces like that. I suppose that would appear to be the case. Well, the purpose was to be played with. The Lightners were like us, and they played with them. Toriel stepped forward. You really think it is that simple? It kind of looks that way. Well, if that is the entire problem, it is easily solved. Chris and Susie must simply return to the world above and tell everyone that they must play with the games in the supply closet, for they are lonely. But Toriel, will anyone believe them? That's a fair point. They can play with the games there, whether anyone believes them or not. I actually wonder if they're gonna do the whole joke with Sans saying I'm friends with your mom. Da da da. I wish you would see that with Sans there. They shortly arrived at the battle against Sea Round. My checker has the annoying dog's face, does it not? Asked Toriel. Alphys looked closely and grinned. You're right. I guess that's what they call a self-insert. Toriel grimaced. I am fairly sure that is not how self-insert works. A lot of the time, when you do a self-insert, you give your own traits to a character you admire. Does this mean the annoying dog aspires to be round and large? And to wear a crown, said Alphys, and to have the big, graceful legs. Well, it is healthy to have aspirations. Hey, Tori, why didn't I get all big and graceful when I became queen? Does it only work for kings? It does not work because you're not queen regent. You should have seen me before I queened up originally. Oh, Tori, are you saying you weren't beautiful? I was plenty beautiful, my sweet one. I was a chihuahua. so, so, let me get this straight. Goat Mom was originally a little tiny dog. I mean, it's better than a Pomeranian. Oh, good. I'm trying to actually imagine that. That is so funny. Just the mental image alone. Alphys blinked. Oh, okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going, everyone. What? Not really. You're kidding, right? Toriel laughed and scooted her chair forward to hug Alphys. I am joking, yes, but would it be so bad if I had once been a chihuahua? It would have been funny. I think I would have to recalibrate all my fantasies. Is that something that you do regularly, Alphys? It might be. Is there any chance I could be allowed to help? Alphys laughed nervously. But you're in most of my fantasies, she countered. So much the better. I am well qualified to recalibrate them. I think this is getting kind of abstract, said Alphys. She pulled reluctantly away and returned to the game. Well, look who it is. Sweet little peas we love to see. Hey, watch your language. Are you trying to insult them, remarked Toriel. He's doing a remarkably poor job. I agree, said Alphys. This is even worse than when he said, "Step on my boots." Yo ho, yes. Earn a second doctorate, smart genius. Am I being made fun of? There are some people who would pay good coin to have this boy come and insult them, Toriel quipped. Huh, yes, it would. I mean, personally, would it be good for your self-esteem, Doctor? Alphys blushed at Toriel. I mean, I like your compliments more, but do you mean you do not care for my insults, Toriel teased? No, I mean, actually, your insults are nice, not that you tell a lot of them, but I try to be considerate even when I'm insulting someone, Toriel explained. I guess that's how Lancer was brought up too. Or perhaps he is simply a natural, speculated Toriel. It's all on paper, you delicious apple. Definitely natural, said Alphys. What sort of destructive machine should we create? Asked Toriel. Well, said Alphys, pushing through the menu. I sort of like ducks. What do you think? They wandered onward. Toriel was in control again, and Alphys was munching slowly on Halloween-colored potato chips from an orange paper plate. Have you considered the possibility that Asher is actually helping us? Toriel suggested. Helping? What do you mean? It is true he has been playing at the role of the enemy and thwarting our intentions. But what if that is precisely what is required by the prophecy? Oh, the prophecy. Right. So we could just be walking to the castle without interruptions, but if we do not meet with resistance, perhaps we will have no reason to seal a fountain that we are supposed to seal, said Toriel. So even though he is pretending to be a villain, he's helping out, continued Alphys, and he's helping Susie out too. Sounds like my kind of prophecy, remarked Sounds. of, of course, Sans he just shows up when he wants to. It's like, yep, here I am. Alpha spun her chair around so fast that she couldn't stop from spinning. Sans, what the... Hey, said the assistant, ambling in from the room's corner. I heard there was milk. Toria reached out a hand to stabilize Alphys' chair. That is not precisely why I sat on the phone. Funny, because that's what I heard. Toria indicated the kitchen adjoining the laboratory. It is Halloween. There is green apple cider, to which you may help yourself. I don't mind if I do. Hey, wait a minute. That D's capital. Sans, don't do that. Said Sans, wandering from the room. First came silence. While the two women waited, then they heard a number of clinks and tinks, accompanied by the inexplicable sound of bouncing rubber, and silence again. Well, said Alphys, turning back to the game. Earlier, Susie ate a pine cone off the floor. Gave her a terrible stomach ache. It was very brave and cool. See? Finally some respect. Now I'm making fucking mac and cheese, and no one can stop me! No, I had to. Is this what it feels like to be starved for respect? Inquired Toriel. Well, maybe for some people, Alphys answered. For me, it was more like creating secret undernet accounts so that I could point out things about my favorite shows without bothering the people who are sick of me pointing things out about them. Because if more than one person's doing it, then it's not a... Toriel rescued her. I see. I think we can safely say your experience and Susie's was someone different. That's fair. I never bullied anyone. I was more of a bully. Toriel wrapped her arms around the back of Alphys' chair, closing them over her belly. Now that you're here, you'll be treated with nothing but love. Aw, Tori. Sans wandered out from the kitchen at that point, holding a metal bowl of hot cider high in one hand and a plastic bowl of pretzels in the other. Taking a break, huh? Oh, there's a couple of queens close to my heart. This whole game is kind of a break from work of ruling the kingdom, Alphys explained sheepishly. So you're taking a break from taking a break, then? I gotcha. Too many breaks can make a person tired. They are necessary. They are necessary if one wishes to stay young, riposted Toriel. Besides, it is a holiday. Sans sipped from the bowl of cider. Oh yeah, Halloween. Is that really you, Tori? Are you really Alphys in disguise? Alphys snickered, flicking her cat ears. And then, would I be Toriel in disguise? Sans shrugged. Probably better than enjoy my mystery. What if I'm you in disguise? That'd be a hoot. Alphys stared for a moment, contemplating this. So, would you like to see our game, Sans? It's called Deltarune, and we've been playing for a while. Deltarune, huh? Emblem of the visiting angel. It has been the motif of my household ever since the prophecy was made, Toriel explained. These days, I am inclined to believe the angel was Frisk, who was working hard to free us from our prison. Perhaps the annoying dog has other notions. I think the angel in this game is a bad guy, put in Alphys. We saw something about banishing something called the Angel's Heaven. Wow, all caps and everything. Didn't know heaven was something you could banish. We do not know yet who this angel is. It is possible, Alphys, that they are also the knight. Well, if an angel told me they wanted to be a knight too, I guess I wouldn't say no. Some of the best characters are combinations of things, like a zombie robot sheriff, or a monkey ninja pirate. Sounds like a pretty intense game. Alright, I'll stick around and watch. I seem to recall, Sans, that you came here on the princesses of answering a question. A question? Alright, glass of milk. That is the one. He devoted himself busily to thought. You were wondering. But I think of it as unusual. Someone to drink 3 glasses of milk. Nothing else. For dinner. That is precisely so. Well, his eyes flashed for a moment. Oh no, Tori. I think it would be cowardly. Toriel rose from her chair, nostrils flaring. Alphys clawed at her from her own chair. Oh, no! Toriel, sit down! Are you telling me, Sans, that you came all this way simply in order to deliver that milquetoast pun? What can I say? Thought you might find it moving. Perhaps 2% of the way too humorous. Sans shrugged. Don't skim off my teeth. And you cannot tell if on the phone because I think he wanted to see the expression on your face, injected Alphys. I could have thought I could get you to smile, Tori. Now I can see I was wrong. Joke didn't even go to pasteurize. Alright, that's actually a pretty clever pun. Toriel's eyes sparkled, and then she snorted, and then she smiled. Very well, Sans. You are reluctantly forgiven. Will you join us for our late night diversion? Sans plopped down in the swivel chair and chomped on the end of a pretzel. I already have. So what comes next? Alphys reseated herself and took the mouse with determination. That we find out together. If you beat me, I'll go back to being a good guy. If you lose, you guys will have to become the bad guys with us and do whatever we say. Feels very much like a child's game, said Toriel. Well, I guess that's the whole motif. Games. I mean, children. It is suggesting that evil is simply a product of children's games, and not something to be truly feared. Well, that's a scary thought, said Sans. Alphys frowned. Well, maybe that is the root of all evil. If people never got over the urges they have as children, but then they grow up. Toriel sat in silence. That is an unsettling thought. Isn't it, though? Asked Skeleton. I do not like thinking of children as evil. Sure, said Sans. That's how they get you. Again, Risley has spoken this time to Lancer, of how the true purpose of darkness can only be fulfilled through assisting Lightners. And now, as if in a perversion of this concept, Lancer and Susie have split off into their own evil team. But what if you had a fight? Everybody bleeds, right? Toriel and Alphys exchanged a glance. Now I am even more curious about the blood type question at the beginning, said Toriel. What does she mean? Everybody bleeds, asked Alphys. Is this an alternate war line where monsters are made of blood and fluids and things instead of just structure and magic? Sans came close, green cider spilling over his ribs. His drinking was a mess, as usual, yet somehow he looked satisfied. I don't know, guys. I don't think there's any way we can be positive. Life cannot exist without consuming. Even the moss drinks water, perpetuate the cycle of existence. Alphys looked to her wife. Eat the moss? Toriel made a face. I will pass on that, thank you. But Tori, it's probably really healthy moss. It'd be good for your wool, and I bet it has a whole bunch of nutrients. I am not averse to eating moss, but I would prefer the genuine mold small cultured kind. You like your moss artisanal, huh, Tori? I prefer it edible, that is all. Toriel reached out and selected the do not eat option. The cycle ends here, in the corner of a small prison cell. Toriel, said Alfred, stating, You ended the cycle of existence. I apologize, my dear one. but it did have a good run, did it not? Alphys stared for a while and didn't answer. I mean, I could easily smash him, but you guys, I know that's not really your thing. You're more about groveling like total losers. Toriel snickered. What is this? That is more or less your mode of operation, Alphys, is it not? Sometimes, yeah. Groveling can, well, it worked with Ascor when he was on my tail about amalgamates. And of course, it was perfectly effective in resolving that problem, said Toriel. Said Alphys. I'm so sorry about that. And you are still fired as Royal Scientist, Toriel continued. It's lucky that there was an open post with which you were better qualified. Alphys looked uneasily. Am I really qualified as Queen Consort, though? She asked. Toriel pulled her chair up against the lizard and held her close, hugging tenderly. You are doing an exemplary job. I could scarcely imagine a monster more qualified. Alphys sighed in relief. Well then, let's get back to having a fun time. In the game, Rasley and Susie were speaking of cakes. And I'll make as many as you like. Yeah, like you can make that many, dude. Oh, Susie, said Sans in the doorway. You have no idea. Have you ever seen Toriel in the kitchen? Eyes and cakes filling up faster than your eye can see. Wham, wham, wham. Million of them. You can blink. That is a gross exaggeration, Sans. Besides, that is me, not Rasley. But it's supposed to be your son, right? More or less. Guessing the cookie doesn't fall from the cutter. He is an anagram of my son. So all he can make is anagrams of pies. Is there an anagram for butterscotch? Toriel wondered. Alphys discreetly checked her phone's anagramination app. Croquet bush? Toriel frowned. Somehow I doubt that is Rasley's hobby. So we will allow that Susie's riposte as valid. Alphys looked back to the floor. I think it's just sweet how the two of them are starting to bond. Elevator to the top floor, said the placard. Currently stuck at the top floor until someone rides it down. The Alphys and Toriel exchanged a glance. That is certainly how elevators operate, said Toriel. Yeah, that's, you have to walk up and use an elevator before you can unlock it. I suppose that is the duty of the first person to open any particular building. It's a big deal, agreed Alphys. I wonder if there's our professional elevator unlockers, making life easier for the rest of us. I bet it's a really prestigious job, I bet. Toriel looked at Sans. I would imagine our judge would be exceptional at it. You got me, said Sans, hands in his pocket. My fifth job, between puzzle tester and doorstop inspector. I did not know you were a puzzle tester, Sans. He shrugged. I'm usually in the control group. They were in combat against a trio of Alphys. You said some sweet lines. The enemies were deeply enamored. Well, how about that? Observed Sans. Kids out the sweet tongue. They are very good at flirting, said Toriel. So long as I do not have to use any specific words. Your hair is like a waterfall. Wait, do you have hair or? So, come here often? Oh God! Exclaimed Alphys, covering her face. These guys flirt as badly as I do. Your flirting possesses a certain charm, confronted Toriel. While it is true that you stutter, it indicates a profound passion for your subject, I have found. And the fear of falling, added Alphys. Toriel touched her nose to the reptile's own, just for a second. On that count, you need have no fear. Alphys gulped. Well, how about that? Time passed, and they grew skilled at combat. Outside, Sans reported the hubbub of Halloween night had cooled off. Inside their game, the trio had reached the castle, but were suddenly halted in their progress to solve a profoundly stupid puzzle. Toriel spoke confidently. This Ruxless card must be the inspiration for Lancer's stool form. I think you're right, Tori. Only that, said Sans. I wouldn't be surprised if my brother studied under him. Of course, Spap obviously refined his technique. Alphys and Toriel shared a brief glance. It was the first time they could remember Sans joking at his departed brother's expense. You're right, Alphys allowed. I can see something of your brother's style in Card's work. Soon enough, the Spades King stood before them, corpulent and baleful. You that left us in the shadows. Stripped of meaning, you dare return to torment us once again? I didn't do anything like that, squeaked Alphys. Said Sans. Guess he's been lonely for so long he's afraid to stop. Toriel opened her mouth to speak, and checked herself. You know, Sans, I believe I know exactly what you mean. Begone! We have found fresh purpose, for the night has appeared, a night that pulls the fountains from the earth. I just wonder who that could be, Toriel wondered. His cape just flew away, like a bat, Alphys observed. Don't make 'em like that anymore, said Sans. Did they ever make 'em like that? Nope, not anymore either. The battle won, they spoke to the grateful monsters in turn. Naturally, they'd taken a pacifistic route through the game, and it appeared to be paying off. And Horsey, young dog's a big help. Now all of us species can live in peace. Boy, Nostros can't thank you enough. Alphys looked at Toriel. Do you suppose Mr. Elegance could be the knight? Toriel grunted. Well, he does have that superficial appearance, but he does not seem to be in command of things, does he? I mean, he is modest. He did not hesitate to take credit for the teleportation door he helped to build. Well, no, but he gave Mr. Society credit too, and Mr. Society seems to like the helpful type. Perhaps giving credit to Mr. Society was actually not an act of humility, Toriel, said. He seems to want to avoid credit. I don't know. Someone doesn't want credit. Is it modest to give it to them? Asked Sans. Maybe that's another side of the vanity coin. Like double negatives, agreed Alphys. I shall giveth a plate of worms for thou silence. Deal, cried Alphys, especially if they're gummy worms. Are you fond of gummy worms, my sweet? Well, I don't get them very often. But who would even tell? About Roxas' card anyway? Is anyone keeping track? The story is marginally better this way. In any case, Toriel agreed. Come to our next B-Day, too. We'll have one soon. That's possible. Toriel frowned. If what is possible, to have another birthday sooner than 1 year hence, or for the Lightners to attend it. No, either, I guess, said Alphys. Oh, you can have B-Days pretty much as often as you want, contributed Sans. You don't gotta make them all birthdays. You can have baggy days, booger days, basket weaving days. Maybe boy days, suggested Alphys. Toriel pressed through further dialogue with concern. I do not even know how to pronounce breakwork, but it can seem these odd creatures contain a hidden message. Alphys blushed as she realized, oh god, they're spelling boob. Guess Clover's into boob day parties, said Sans. But I would prefer to imagine they are meant to spell booby trap, said Toriel. But then where did the others go? I presumed they were at a party and fell into a trap. A party booby trap? Oh, why not? Said Alphys. Oh wait, Sans said that. A party booby trap? Said Alphys. It's a palindrome, you know. Lightners are now illegal. Second, prison is now only for dads. Alphys sat up straight and stretched her feet. Wow, Toriel. Sounds like he's almost pretending to be you. To be me? Do you mean how I declared that humans would always be treated with compassion if they felt not with brutality? Alphys nodded vehemently. You've always been big on the compassion. Toriel nodded somberly. In truth, animal ears and noses should play a larger role in her penal system. On the screen, Raziel revealed himself, as expected, to have been Azrael the whole time. While Alphys controlled things, Toriel watched with a hand pressed firmly to her chest. Chris and Susie finally returned from the world of the Darkners and found themselves in an unused classroom, strewn with game pieces. Everyone else must have gone home by now. Guess Alphys will know better than to ask us next time, huh? Said Alphys. Actually, I think I made a good decision asking to go, Susie. You seem to have a transformative experience, and I think it was good for you? Yeah, let's go, Alf. It would seem we were correct about the purpose of the Darkness, Toriel observed. They are simply a collection of neglected game pieces. Their king claimed we had left them in the shadows, stripped of meaning. Oh, that is really clear. Sorry, game pieces, we didn't know you were sentient. Think maybe these two imagined the whole thing? Asked Sans. The Queen exchanged a glance. I suppose maybe that it could be one way of looking at it, replied Alphys. They have wound up in this empty classroom, said Toriel. Yet perhaps that is the sort of thing that happens when one plays hooky. Oh god, look, Toriel! Alphys pointed to the screen. It's the throne of the gods! Toriel crossed her eyes. It is simply a stack of nested classroom chairs. Why don't you ever make thrones like that for me? Am I your consort, aren't I? In the empty classroom, as Toriel was written on the dry erase board on the wall. Oh, what a relief, exclaimed Toriel. I'm a teacher here too. We're co-workers, said Alphys, delighted. It would be a joy to work every day knowing you will be there. But you do, I mean, I don't always have to go to work with you, Tori, but if you want me, I'm not saying my actual life is not a joy. I am just saying that this alternate universe would be a joy as well. Imagine if we were simple citizens of a town together, rather than the queens of the realm. Alphys slouched in her chair and stuck her feet out. That would be nice, huh? Just planning out what to teach for the next week. Hanging out in the teacher's lounge and discussing, teachery things. Apples! I would be glad to discuss apple cultivars with you, my dear one. For now, she looked at the pictures on the classroom computer's background. A picture of Chris and their brother from Halloween. Halloween 8 years ago, said Alphys. That's kind of funny. I figured Chris probably wasn't much older than that. I guess he must be like 12. You can dress up a 4-year-old human, right? Toriel nodded sagely. Let us leave the school and see if the game has an ending. Toriel on the screen on the phone. I sat in the car waiting for you after school for an hour. Toriel's ears expanded, coming to rest against the withered bunny ears of her costume. Really? It's not very resourceful of me. You think they would have gotten up and gone inside, agreed Alphys. Soon after, Chris walked through town. This part is really lovely, said Alphys. Is it not? I believe this is what they call an epilogue. Oh, look! Alphys didn't need to be told. She had already had her chair slid all the way, and was leaning forward toward the screen. It's Undyne! I see she has found a suitable job on the surface, controlling traffic. I guess after her time as Empress, the annoying dog didn't think she was responsible enough to run a town. They heard from the angry drivers, or control traffic, I guess. Alphys? Who's Alphys? No idea who you're talking about. In real life, Alphys' lower jaw dropped. Oh, said Toriel. Oh my. Kinda feels like some cutting-edge social commentary, opinion stands. Gotcha. If I see Alphys, I'll tackle him. They're as good as dead. Stammered Alphys. Toriel's hand was on her shoulder. It is an alternative version of her. Remember that the dog has altered some aspects of reality in designing this game. Alphys sat snub-snouted as Toriel continued navigating the town. They spoke to the town's pastor. Said Toriel. Again, there is a mention of an angel. Wasn't that what we're supposed to prevent, banish the angel's haven? You're correct. That seems oddly like an anagram. Alphys quickly fiddled, and her brows furrowed. Sengile Haven? That is clearly nonsense. I wonder what danger the angel poses, especially if Father Alvin believes in his power. The Delta Rune, suggested Alphys. Gotta be connected. Suddenly she gasped. Tori! In the first game, we're the angel. We're the one who comes down from above and empties the underground. So we are the one to be banished, because we have killed. You sure? Asked Sans. I thought it was the heaven that gets banished, not the angel. Alphys looked thoughtful. That's true. That means, well, I think I see. The angel comes from above. That is to say, the surface. And by sealing off the fountains, they banish all contact with the angel's heaven, the world of Lightners. There you go, said Sans. No more heaven, no more Lightners making you into pawns in their game. Even those who are really our pawns, jokes Alphys. But if the purpose of the darkness is to really is to bring Lightners pleasure, then that is profoundly sad, said Toriel. He advanced to the dialogue. This pastor is familiar. Was he the one who drew the picture of the cabinet in the school? Alphys inhaled sharply. You're right. It was a picture of the turtle. Drawn when he was a child. Toriel's eyes crossed. Has no one opened that cabinet since Father Alvin was a student? Maybe they are just like the picture. That's true. Maybe the darkness really had been neglected. There is a mortal here, said Toriel. Remember to tell your loved ones that you love them. She squeezed the boss monster's girth with desperate affection. Remember to occasionally clean out your junk closet, amended Toriel. I would not disagree with yours. Alphys discovered the note in the library and squinted at the screen as she read aloud. Its reviewer had Mew Mew 2 as her first exposure to the series. And let me tell you, it makes Mew Mew 1 look like a dumpster with sparkly cat ears. With a darker storyline and more mature themes, the second one treats the viewer like a real adult. So like an animal that will die if it goes 10 seconds without seeing a beach ball. Now that is unseemly thought, said Toriel. Is that supposed to be me? Shouted Alphys. She read out. Signed, the anonymous yellow lizard, and swallowed. That must be some other lizard who reviews anime. That can't be me. Hush, my darling. It'll be alright. Let us continue. But Alphys, now shaking, had found the annoying dog working in the back of the library. Come out and have me say that again. There must be a way to fight the dog. Some kind of Easter egg. I think the dog will not come out of the room. And as I am the Easter bunny, I would know about any eggs. Well, I'm part cat tonight. I want to fight dogs. Replied Alphys. There is an Easter egg, but let me fight it. Just have the right one. It's actually a funny image. She grabbed her own sibling desk table and pulled over her monitor. What language do you suppose this game is programmed in? First one was in law code, right? Alphys, please! We are nearly done with the game. Can you not wait another 10 minutes before you start to break it? Alphys simmered, but controlled herself. Fine. Let's finish. I got a dog fight to write. Law code should be especially good for that. There's supposed to be a way to fight the annoying dog in the first game, asked Sans. Behind a different door, said Toriel, raising two fingers to her lips. That is right. But I do not believe it was ever made possible. Guess the dog just likes trolling its audience. Sans! Cried Alphys. Stop teaching Toriel that word. It is too late, my dear, said Toriel, putting a hand on Alphys' shoulder. It's part of my soul now. No! Okay, that's actually pretty cute. Alphys on the screen. I'm the cool teacher, you know. You're not in trouble. Her Alphys was visibly agitated. Do I live in this alley? The school is unlocked, and one would think you could hold office there hours there. Yeah, but at least I'm the cool teacher. That's something. Alphys continued through the dialogue with barely contained embarrassment. Oh gosh. I like Asgore. You have made that clear to me in the past, dear one. No, but I mean, the Alphys on the screen likes me even better than you. Or Undyne. These flowers from him are suspiciously well kept, agreed Toriel. And I seem very happy with my, well, I was gonna say job, but I guess life? Based on how I sneaked into the store and brought instant noodles in a suitcase and sunglasses and pajamas. Does seem like what someone with affection, something that I might do, remarked Sans. I wonder if Asgore is aware of your affections. Now we have to get them together, Alphys murmured. Fervency increasing. I fear that it may not be possible. At least not in this game. There's always hacking and mods. 10 minutes later, the game still showed no sign of ending. Just how long is this epilogue? Complained Alphys. Even the whole first part was really a prologue, suggested Sans. No, this is the main game. Right? There's just so much character development and open-ended exploration, Alphys yelled. They were now chattering with a Mr. Ruby Holiday in his hospital bed. I wonder, said Toriel. Just how old is Chris? What do you mean? Well, they were in costume with their older brother for Halloween 8 years ago. According to the picture on the computer, so I would expect them to be at least 12. That seems about right, said Alphys. And yet, they apparently got tangled in holiday lights and plays, and begged the local pastor for fruit juice rather than actually attend service, and hide under the bed in order to scare vulnerable monsters. Surely that is not some 12-year-old behavior. Well, I don't know, said Alphys. I was doing dumber stuff to that at my age. Maybe that's just what comes from being the only human in a town full of monsters. That is a point, admitted Toriel. I suppose Chris is having a hard time fitting in. They then spoke to Noelle about Susie and chose to tell her about being slammed against the locker. Chris, I'm so sorry you had to go through this. In fact, I wonder if Alphys will let us switch partners, I mean. Well, I am supposedly the cool teacher, remarked Alphys. You know, you wouldn't have to be the one who slammed into lockers and stuff anymore. Toriel's eyes went wide. Sans went blue. I don't think I phrased that correctly. She's got a crush on Susie, squealed Alphys. Not so loud, dear one. It's the middle of the night. This explains the conversation she was having with her dad when we walked in. And explains why she was asking after Susie in class. Folks are just unhappy unless they got trouble. It would seem that Noelle wishes to reform Susie, decided Toriel. Alphys swiftly used her questionable ethical safe state framework software to replay all the dialogue options. These made it abundantly clear. It was indeed a crush. And make her a lunchbox full of charts, Sans. Seems classy. We have to make this happen, said Alphys, staring at the screen. We have to get them together. They finally ran out of places to go. At least it seemed like there was nothing more to do but go home. Toriel welcomed Chris, and soon the main character stood alone in the room, preparing for bed at last. Something is wrong, said Toriel in real life. Right, stammered Alphys. Something scary is about to happen. Sure enough, the child produced a knife and took several shambling steps to the center of the room. The child slammed their head into the chest and tore out their soul. They threw the soul into the cage. Alphys, fumbling with the arrow key, struggled to free it from no avail. Chris then drew a knife, holding it ominously at the ready, and grinned a terrible grin. The game ended. Oh, said Toriel. Sam's eyes were dark. A beautiful, haunting song played over the credit. A loving voice declared that it was with them in the dark. Then the screen returned to the desktop, Muffet's grinning face staring at them from her anti-malware web. Well, so wait. So Muffet was watching them all along? Like she was just watching? I'm kind of confused about Muffet. Well, said Sans. That was not expected, said Auditorial. I mean, it is chapter 1. Like, they probably don't know that, though. Well, stammered Alphys. I mean, it is Halloween. I suppose the dog may have considered a fearsome ending mandatory. What are you supposed to knife for? Asked Sans. The knife was for stabbing. Yeah, for stabbing what? Soul in the cage? Unless Chris was going to stab themselves. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Either way, they wanted body and soul separate, so she gets the point. I don't even want to think about it, said Alphys. I guess it would make more sense to be killing the soul. Because, I mean, a soul in pain can hurt a lot. Toriel stood behind her chair and quietly folded her arms around her consort. It is possible it is a metaphorical act. Perhaps a dream. Could be. Maybe in the next game, Chris is fine. Apart from needing someone to it's Sans. Could be. Maybe in the next game, Chris is fine. Apart from needing someone to console them. But why even include it even as a metaphor? Asked Alphys. Things seem to be doing pretty well. We made a new friend out of an enemy, and we got to have an amazing adventure and save a kingdom. Assuming it was all real, said Sans. Alphys sat up and thought. You think it might have been real? The Dark World? Seems like a pretty convenient adventure. Bring itself and Scary Kid together. She gets a best friend who's bad, like her, but he doesn't do it right. She gets to teach him, he admires her. Toriel spoke, and Chris also gets a new best friend, who happens to be exactly like the big brother they admire, who went off to college, only again, younger. They all sat and soaked that in. Okay, said Alphys, so you guys think that maybe the whole Darkness Kingdom part of the game was a big role-playing fantasy? Could have shacked up in the school closet to do it, suggested Sans. He doesn't wait to kill a few hours bringing back some chalk. It is a reasonable theory, Toriel asked. In that case, the game-related items in the supply closet served as inspiration for the inhabitants and enemies of the fictional world. Well, alright, Alphys went on. I guess maybe that whole thing was all fantasy. But even so, things were looking up for Chris. They even got to go around town and talk to everyone, except for Sans. Well, there you go. Said Sans. You got it. You mean you understand why Chris is about to stab her soul in the end? Sure. They talked to the guy in the pizza costume, and anyone would have stabbed their soul out after that. Toriel meant, honestly, I kind of doubt that's the whole reason. Are you saying that if we never talked to him, the whole ending would be different? Sans shrugged. I was saying. I did find it odd that Azriel is stated to have cruises for companionship with that odd pizza salesman, put in Toriel. And sung in the choir, added Alphys, and hung out in the other places. QC's? Kid's got a whole made-up life, said Sans. So it would seem. Toriel seemed on the verge of tears. That dog has really got quite the nerve. He knows that my son is trapped soulless somewhere in a flower's body. And I like how Icy's trapped in a small ice cube. Toriel paused. Are you sure about that, Sans? I had the impression he was the ice cube. Sans shrugged, as it made no difference. Sans took his leave, along with another cup of cider and pretzels, and the two queens went to bed, haunted by the unexpected game. But in the middle of the night, Alphys woke up with a start. Birdly! She cried. There was silence. Then the covers rumpled audibly for several seconds. Toriel's head emerged as she sat up, picking up a fold of blanket from where it was caught on a horn. Alphys? Sorry to wake you, Tori. It's just, I only just realized. He's a bully. He's a nerd bully. Toriel's eyes swam. You have an unpleasant dream? No, Tori. The game. Remember? The stuck-up bird guy in school and in the library. Toriel yawned. Yes, I recalled him. You think that he was a bully? Totally is. I mean, he doesn't use physical violence, but that's just because it's not his weapons. He uses words instead. Words and shame. I do recall something about a library book being overdue. He gab about not contributing to society. And he implies we're no good at school. And scolds us for being late. He's totally a bully. I do take your point, Alphys. He's hardly a model of societal behavior. Yet, why did he just wake you up in the middle of the night? Because, said Alphys, the tip of her tail rocking a peak on the bedsheet back and forth. He's a bully, but he's also a nerd. Nerds aren't usually bullies. Nerds are usually ones who get bullied. I should know. No. I'm sorry, Alphys. I do not see your point. He is an unusual combination. That's what the point of what the annoying dog is saying with him. He's saying that anyone can be a bully, even a nerd, and anyone can be a nerd, even a bully. You just can't assume. I suppose that is a fair bit of trouble has stemmed from assumptions about Susie's character, replied Toriel. If she were not assumed to be violent and dangerous because of her appearance, she would not have had the trouble she does. Because she was assumed to be that way, she is, cried Alphys. She really is violent and dangerous, and when people heard about her reputation, they just made them assume more, which made people stay away from her more, and that made her even more antisocial. It's a dangerous style, Toriel. She really is violent and dangerous, and when people heard about her, oh wait, I already read this. It is a dangerous spiral, Toriel acknowledged sleepily. But do you think you have discovered the message of the game? Alphys took a breath in the cool, still bedroom, sequestered in the palace basement. I think I might have. Because if you were going to combine the word nerd and the word bully, what would you get? Toriel's eyes crossed briefly before she shook her head. Birdly, I suppose. Exactly, and of course, since that sounded like the word bird, a dog made him a bird. But that combination was where he started. And do you really think this is important about the game's overall theme, though, Doctor? Yes, because it's all about Susie and what people's assumption have done to her. She's a bully, and so is Birdly, even though in most other ways they're pretty different. And what do they have in common? They're both students in the same classroom? Said Toriel. Noel likes them both, exclaimed Alphys, her tail throwing the sheets and blankets free with his waggling. And that means she's the key. She's going to be totally important in the sequel. Or perhaps she simply has a liking for, how should I put it, bad boys and girls? Alphys swallowed. Well, I mean, yeah, she's afraid of so many things. I guess being afraid of her boyfriend or girlfriend, there must be a thrill for her. So she's drawn to them, just like Chris is drawn to the dark. The dark notion of murdering their own souls, asked Toriel. In the dark world itself, they recast their own favorite person in the world, Azrael, as a darkling. Chris is attracted to the dark, and it helps him come to terms with their problems. Noelle is drawn to dark people. And who knows what trouble it will get her into, replied Toriel. Alphys sat up and leapt out of her bed. Exactly. Think that we worked it out. I'm gonna go find the annoying dog and let it know. The middle of the night, Dr. Alphys? She stared at her wife. Well, the dog released a spooky game on Halloween. He didn't wait for a scary time, so if it gets people knocking on its door in the middle of the night, it only has itself to blame. It's not terribly polite. Alphys grinned. I know. I'm gonna bring it to the rest of the cider and the marshmallows, but I got a few bones to pick about it the way it portrayed us. Toriel sighed. You do remember that the annoying dog does not talk. Oh, I know. It just communicates through video game software and interactive novels. She waggled her fingers confidently. I'm no slouch of that myself. Toriel stared at her diminutive consort. Very well, Alphys. Good luck extracting meaning from the strange creature. For my part, I'm going to return to darkness. She lay her head down, and Alphys got out of bed and dressed quietly and quickly. She wondered what Toriel had been dreaming about. But really, she wasn't the only one. All of them were passing through darkness every day as they remained in the underground. Day and night, in a way, it was all darkness. But if there was one thing about Deltarune that had stayed with Alphys, it was that darkness could be as rich as a place to pass through as anything. Hmm. So that is not the story, but the chapter. I actually like it. I think it was nice. Do think the story was a little just very dialogue heavy. It was way too dialogue heavy to make a lot of sense. I think to even it out, we could have actually Ringcat should have just added prose that basically shows what was happening on the screen rather than just do pretty much dialogue. I think that would have balanced out everything. But overall, I do think this is a good story. Well, not a good story, good bonus chapter. I'm really not going to do these that often. Like I don't. Yeah, I'm pretty much not going to do this that often. I just thought this was kind of a neat little surprise. That I thought, hey, let's just do this one random bonus chapter. There's one other bonus chapter that I want to do, but I'm not sure if I should do it. Mainly due to the fact it's technically an erotic chapter. So I'll leave that up to you. Should I do that other story chapter or not? So if I had to rate this chapter on a scale of 1 to 5, I would actually give it a 4. Like the only problem I have with the story is just the excessive amount of dialogue. I do think it should be some kind of balance of just showing what's on the screen. Maybe as a joke they could drag along Muffet. Like that's just more fan service than anything. Like if they invited Sans and like then just bring Muffet along too. But that's just saying just add Muffet just for the sake of it. And Muffet really wouldn't add anything to it. So fine. But I do honestly think that it is very, very dialogue heavy, like to the point of absurdity. That there is just so much dialogue. I actually like that it was just crazy. Um, that would be it for this. You don't need to even take any of the dialogue out. You just need to add prose to it. Like just show what they're saying, like show what's going on the screen, so that way you can kind of get a feel of how they react to their reactions to connect to the dialogue. That's really it. So that is my reading of the bonus chapter of Alphys and the Queen. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and